Hi there. Today is December 20th, and our O antiphon for today is O Key of David. I'll begin by reading the antiphon. O Key of David and scepter of the house of Israel, that opens and no man shuts, that and shuts and no man opens, come to liberate the prisoner from the prison, and them that sit in darkness. So, this is, again, as all the antiphons are, from the prophet Isaiah. I'll read what Isaiah has to say. This is Isaiah chapter 22, verse 22. He says, I will place on his shoulder the key of the house of David. He shall open, and no one shall shut. He shall shut, and no one shall open. So a key obviously speaks about access. A key opens things and closes things. And the one who holds the keys then has the power to give admittance or to refuse admittance to a place or to a thing. After original sin, we could no longer, as humans, we could no longer endure the presence of God. And out of God's mercy, he excluded Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden, which then was guarded by an angel with a flaming sword. You see that in Genesis chapter 3, verse 24, and right around verse 24 in chapter 3. So we could not on our own ever hope to regain access to God the Father. There's no way for us in our sinful state to be able to tolerate the holiness of God. It simply would be too painful. It would be so extraordinary for us that we couldn't endure it. So thus, the prophet Malachi asked, who may abide the day of his coming, and who shall stand when he appears? Malachi goes on to answer that only when God acts as a refining fire can we be pure enough to enter or to abide in his presence. That's in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 3. And Jesus did this for us on the cross, purifying us with his own blood and with the fire of his love. So therefore, it's Jesus that holds the key to open so that no one can close, to close so that no one can open. Revelation 3, chapter 3, verse 7 speaks more of this. Jesus alone restores us access to the Father. He opens the gates, not of some earthly paradise like the Garden of Eden, but rather to heaven itself. And how beautifully this is shown in right after at the crucifixion, right after his death, when we see the curtain in the temple being torn from top to bottom. Jesus alone controls this access. He holds keys to the kingdom, and he alone can grant access to the heart of the Father. Now, both the keys and the mention of his scepter in this O antiphon are reminders of his great authority. One day we will stand before him, and he will judge us. He alone will grant access, opening what no one can shut. And he alone will deny access to those who are unfit or unwilling to accept God's love and mercy, and unfit then for the kingdom of God, closing so that no one may open. Thanks a lot. I'll see you tomorrow with another antiphon.